Good morning. I'm Reverend Kathy Harrington, and I'm the worship leader today and also the worship associate. So I'm really glad to see you all here out on this wonderful Sunday morning. We are glad you are here, congregant or visitor. Whoever you are, wherever you come from, whomever you love, wherever you are on your journey, however you identify, you are welcome in our faith community. If you're visiting in the sanctuary, welcome. And if you're visiting online, we invite you to introduce yourself and tell us where you're from and where you're watching, from where you're watching. We're also glad you're here online. We're grateful this morning for our music director, Les Downs, who has arranged for all the music this morning and is taking a well-deserved day off. Can you imagine a Sunday off for Les? And also thanks for our terrific AV Tech team, Jason Smith and Stephen Carter. And now let us prepare for worship with our centering music. He's here. Imagine. The chalice lighting this morning is from Eric Walker Rickstrom. Here today in this place with these people, may we listen so that we can hear. And may we hear so that we can feel, and may we feel so we can know, and may we know so that we can change ourselves and this world. May this chalice that we light our way. Gretchen Haley wrote these words, forged in the fire of our coming together. What's going to happen? Are we going to be okay? What can I do? In these days, we find ourselves too often stuck with these questions on repeat. What's going to happen? Will everything be okay? What can I do? For this hour, we gather to surrender to the mystery, to release ourselves from the needing to know, the yearning to have it already figured out, and also the burden of believing that we either have all the control or no control. So here in our song and our stories and our silence and our sharing, we will make space for a new breath, for a new healing, and for a new possibility to take root. That is courage forged in the fire of our coming together and felt in the spirit that comes alive in this act of faith, that we still believe that a new world, a better world, is possible, and that we can be a part of creating it here and now. It's good to be together again. Please rise in body or spirit and join me in singing hymn number 155, Circle Round for Freedom.
Circle round for freedom, circle round for peace, for all of us in prison, circle for release, circle for the planet, circle for each soul, for the children of our children. Keep the circle whole. Circle round for freedom, circle round for peace, for all of us in prison, circle for release, circle for the planet, circle for each soul, for the children of our children. Keep the circle whole. Circle round for freedom, circle round for peace, for all of us in prison, circle for release, circle for the planet, circle for each soul, for the children of our children. Keep the circle whole.
Thank you. That was beautiful. And so now it's my favorite time of the morning when I get to do a story. And I have my favorite story for the children, and for all of you. It's called Clancy, the Courageous Cow. This book is out of print. So no, if you want to buy it, you're going to have to pay about $30 for it, which is what I did. All right, everybody, are y'all listening? Are you ready? Clancy was born on a stormy day, a day of great disappointment for his parents. You see, they belonged to a herd of belted Galloways, but Clancy was born with no belt. He was beltless. Yeah. And as Clancy grew up, all the other cows treated him like an outcast. Imagine being beltless. Clancy tried really hard to give himself a belt. He rolled in the snow, but it soon melted off. And then he tied a bandage around his middle, but it gave him a bellyache. I feel sick, he said. He sprinkled sugar on his coat, but the ants drove him crazy. He even painted a white stripe around himself, but it washed away in the rain. Clancy was different, and there was just nothing he could do about it. Nevertheless, his parents loved him dearly. The Belted Galloways lived on the poor grass, and they were all skinny. The field next to them was full of rich grass and fat Herefords. The Herefords held the grazing rights to the field since they had won the cow wrestling contest, which was held once a year. They always won this contest. The Belted Galloways were trapped in a vicious cycle. The Herefords grew big and strong on the rich grass, so they always won the contest. That sounds familiar, doesn't it? This gave them the grazing rights for yet another year. The inequity continues. Some nights the Belted Galloways tried to sneak in to the Herefords' field to graze, but their white belts always glowed in the dark and gave them away. Dumb Herefords. Get out of here, they'd say. See anything? No, they're finally giving up. So one night, Clancy slipped into the Herefords' field to try his luck, and nobody chased him out because he didn't have a white belt, and he was invisible. So the next night, as Clancy grazed, he bumped into another cow. "Who is that?" asked Clancy. "I am Helga," answered the cow. "I am a totally brown Hereford." Like Clancy, Helga had always been picked on because she was different. Clancy and Helga hit it off immediately, and they grazed together every night. At first, only Clancy's mother noticed, and his father, how big he was getting. Then one day he bumped into the president of the Belted Galloways and sent her flying. She started to bawl him out, and then she stopped in amazement. Clancy was enormous. Surely a cow as big as this could win the contest, the cow wrestling contest. The very important Galloways decided that beltless was not so bad, and Clancy would represent the herd at the cow wrestling contest. Make us proud, Clancy. Several retired wrestlers trained Clancy and taught him their favorite holds and maneuvers. The cud cruncher, the hindquarter drop, and the ruminator, the helicopter, the cow whisperer, and the windmill. So, on the day of the match, Clancy pinned his opponent in record time and won the contest. We have a new champion, Clancy. So now it was time for the Belted Galloways to enjoy the rich grass that they had won the contest, and they began to chase away the Herefords out of the field. And suddenly a voice rang out. Guess who it was? It was Clancy. And he yelled, "Stop! This situation has gone on for too long. Black, white, brown, we're all cows. I say we pull down the fence and be cows together." And after a little while, the Belted Galloways and the Herefords began to get along very well because there was plenty of grass for everyone. And then Klanga was born on a sunny day, a great day of joy for her parents. And that's the end. So I wonder, what was your favorite part of the story? And the bigger message from that story is to tear down our fences and to be one together in this world. Thank you for listening. And now it's time for the children to go to their religious exploration classes. You'll be sung out of the sanctuary and meet the group leaders and the foyer in the Sandberg Hall and go out to classes together. Look for the adults with the sign with your grade to find your group. And parents, if you're new and visiting today, escort your children to their classes so you can meet their teachers. And we're going to sing you out because you're almost out. Okay, here we go. Wow. We're so blessed to have so many wonderful children in our midst. As you go, oh, as you go, surround you as you go. Wow. Where did everybody go? And so now, in the center of our service and the center of our lives, let us pause to honor the silence of the world. Let us open our hearts to the place of quiet and to the silent prayer for the healing of pain and the soft, gentle coming of love. I'm going to light a candle this morning as a blessing for the wider world and also as a prayer for peace, particularly for Tyree Nichols, who was brutally killed by the police. Tyree was a son, a father, a friend, a creative soul, a Black Lives Matter activist, and a photographer who loved life. So this candle that I'll light this morning is for him and for all who loved him, and for all the Black people of all ages who live in fear in this country with the reality of state-sanctioned violence every day. May the flame of this candle help us see the humanity more clearly and love humanity more deeply. Let us share a moment of silence. And now I invite you for a time of candle lighting and reflection. For a joy or sorrow, if you're at home, please write a joy or sorrow in the chat box. And if you're here in the sanctuary, please feel free to come forward and light a candle of memory or hope. And I'm going to need somebody to help me. Thank you, Julie. Lost my thing. If you have shared a joy, know that this congregation rejoices with you. And if you have shared a sorrow, know that you are being held in love and care. So now we have a musical reflection, which is a real treat. Leah Morris, who's been here in person to sing for you, has let us use this video of her, Heart Wide Open. And this month of violence, 40 mass shootings and a brutal murder of a young, innocent black man, our hearts tend to close. We're overwhelmed. We have compassion fatigue. So hopefully you can listen to this song and maybe open your heart a little bit. And I hope you enjoy it.
Keep your heart wide open, though the waves won't push you around. You got to keep your heart wide open till your faith brings you back to solid ground. I'm gonna keep your heart. I'm gonna keep your heart. I'm gonna keep my heart wide open. Though the waves want to push you around, though the waves want to push me around, I'm gonna keep your heart. I'm gonna keep wide open. I'm gonna keep my heart wide open till my faith brings me back to solid ground. Till my faith brings me back to solid ground. I'm gonna keep your heart. I'm gonna keep wide open. I'm gonna keep my heart wide open. Though the waves want to push me around, though the waves want to push me around, I'm gonna keep your heart. I'm gonna keep wide open. I'm gonna keep my heart wide open till my faith brings me back to solid ground. Till my faith brings me back to solid ground.
Well, darn, static. Sorry. And so I wanted to share this sermon with you, even though it's recorded. This is the president of the Unitarian Universalist Association. And I've preached on this parable of the trapeze before for congregations in transition, but never have I seen it done so beautifully because of the way they have some slides and some graphics behind her. You are in transition. You are seriously in transition. Not just from having a new minister in your horizon, but also coming back from COVID. There are so many things that have changed in our world and in our lives, and it's complicated. So this is a really wonderful sermon, and when we're finished listening, then I will share some reflection questions with you. So let's listen to Susan Frederick Gray.
Hello, Unitarian Universalists. I'm Susan Frederick Gray, president of your Unitarian Universalist Association, and it is my joy to be with you today. One of the gifts of these pandemic times has been the ways we have grown in our capacity to connect across congregations and across our association. Over 5 years ago, when I was elected president of the UUA, I knew there was no way I could visit every UU congregation as much as I would have liked to have done so. And yet through technology and being able to offer a message that any and all of our congregations can use, I am grateful to be able to connect in this way and share with you some of what I witness from my vantage point as I pay attention to our association as a whole and the dynamics of our changing world. For more than a year now, I have been talking about these times we are living in as liminal times. Liminal means a time in between, when what has been is no longer and what is ahead is still unclear. The pandemic upended so much of our lives. And yet what is next is still unfolding, still being imagined. I know that many of us are no strangers to this experience, and that for many of our congregations, we are experiencing layers of liminality, layers of transitions. I can relate as I finish my last year as your UUA president, and the UUA prepares to welcome our next president. The UUA president will be elected by delegates from our congregations this coming June at our General Assembly online and in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I hope you will send your delegates. In addition to all of our own personal transitions, a number of our congregations are in various modes of change. Many are in ministerial search or hiring processes for other staff. Others are in their first year of welcoming new staff. You know, across our congregations, we are seeing a lot of staff transition and a shortage of interim ministers. Like a lot of caring professions, we have seen religious professionals leave their work, needing a break after what has been a grueling few years of both pastoral, prophetic, and technological demands. It has all been so much. It could be said that we're all learning to live and adapt in the in-between. We know from these last several years both the challenge and the losses, as well as the creativity and possibility of these transitional times. And the lessons from these times are crucial to bring forward because in truth, there is still so much change happening and needed within and around all of us. This is certainly true in our congregations where the ways in which people connect to religious community have broadened and shifted and new patterns are still developing. And it's true in our country where we continue to witness systems and practices break down with devastating impacts. From healthcare and infrastructure to basic goods and services to the economy to democracy, our system has shown tremendous weakness. Weaknesses that impact the vulnerable most acutely. Human and civil rights are being rolled back at an alarming rate, and these fissures overall reflect a society that has put profit and power over people's lives. Now, in times of change and disruption, there is always a risk that fear and anxiety will dominate and lead people to cling more tightly to what has been, to a status quo that has never served the cause of human need, nor the values of justice and equity. But here's the thing. We are Unitarian Universalists. We are a people of faith. We are a people of hope and imagination. And I witness this in so many places across our faith, from congregations that continue to partner and share resources, to the energy and volunteers of UU the Vote, to our congregations, boldly sacrificing to support people in accessing reproductive care. And to all of our congregations celebrating and being a loving community for trans and non-binary children and youth and their families. And so, when so much is uncertain, it matters that we lean in even more to what we know to be true. The life-saving message of our theology and the life-affirming practices of the beloved community. So there's this wonderful parable from the late Denon Perry, a writer and humanitarian, that uses the metaphor of a trapeze artist to describe the experience of living in transition times. This is from the parable of the trapeze from Perry's book, Warriors of the Heart. He writes, "Most of the time, I spend my life hanging on for dear life to my trapeze bar of the moment. It carries me along at a certain steady rate of swing, and I have that feeling that I'm in control of my life. But every once in a while, I see another trapeze bar swinging toward me. Each time it happens, I pray that I won't have to let go of my old bar completely before I grab the new one. But in my knowing place, I know that I must totally release my grasp on the old bar, and for some moment in time must hurtle across space before I can grab on to the new bar. Each time, I'm filled with terror. It doesn't matter that in all my previous hurdles across the void of unknowing, I have always made it. Still, each time I'm afraid that I will miss, I do it anyway. Perhaps this is the essence of what the mystics call the faith experience. No guarantees, no net, no insurance policy, but you do it anyway because somehow to keep hanging on to that old bar is no longer on the list of alternatives. So for an eternity that can last a microsecond or 1,000 lifetimes, I soar through the void of the past is gone, the future is not yet. It's called transition, and I've come to believe that this transition is the only place that real change occurs. And I mean real change, not the pseudo change that only lasts until the next time my old buttons get pushed. What a powerful metaphor that is about our lives today. And a reminder that real change, needed change, is possible, perhaps only possible in these transition times. Now, there's a few nuggets of wisdom in this story to really draw out. First, as Perry says, as much as we want to stay holding on to our current bar, it just doesn't work that way. We have to totally release our grasp on the old to make way for the new. And this is not easy. I want to be clear, for in times of change, there's a real tension between longing for what was, what we knew was stable, familiar, and meaningful, even if it was not that for everybody. And the opportunity to imagine something new, new forms, new practices, new possibilities in our lives and community. This is so relevant for our congregations today. The pandemic completely changed so much of congregational life and how we gather. And as we navigate what comes next, there's a real tension within many of our communities. Some of us know we can't go back. We know we need something different, and we're ready and excited for that future. But we can also have anxiety and a desperate desire to know for sure what comes next. We want that certainty, whereas others long for what was. Because we are all often attached to what has been familiar to us in our past. And so many people want that familiar congregational experience again. But the truth is both of these are seeking attachment when we are in the midst of transition. And being able to stay in the transition, growing more comfortable with being in that void and uncertainty is the place where growth really happens. And this means experimentation and creativity. And this can be challenging because we want to know what comes next before letting go of what we have always done. But we can spend all our time trying to answer questions we don't have answers to, or we can just go for it and start experimenting with living our theology in ways that give us courage and resilience today. And this means bringing creativity and generosity and care to the children and youth and families that are so in need because of this pandemic. And it means courage to answer the call to fully live in active solidarity with those who know how much is on the line and working to bring about more justice, equity, and compassion to fruition. Because here's the other gem in the parable. When the trapeze artist lets go of the bar, they do not free fall. There is momentum carrying them as it carries us all. And it's that fear of free fall that can keep us clinging to something that no longer works. But our connection, our shared history, our ancestors, our songs and readings and poetry, our spiritual imagination, all of these are momentum that propel us forward. We give each other courage. And the truth is, we are not swinging on these bars alone. We are together in this moment. And we will make mistakes, and we will learn from them, and we will learn to love again if we are willing to take a leap of faith.
I want to acknowledge how embodied this metaphor of the trapeze artist is. But remember disabled acrobats and blind aerialists, whose art and athleticism carries the same metaphors.
There are many words I could use to describe the momentum that keeps propelling us in these liminal times. Calling, mission, whatever it is that acts as a beacon that calls us forward, calls us towards what is most treasured in our faith, that calling of the beloved community. And when I speak of beloved community, I mean the description that Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. offers about a community that practices an all-inclusive, overflowing love that supports everyone's thriving. and a love that cannot tolerate injustice, exploitation, discrimination, and poverty because of the damage these things do to human thriving. Denon Perry ends his parable with one final lesson. He writes, I have a sneaking suspicion that the transition zone is the only real thing, and the bars are illusions we dream up to avoid the void where the real change, the real growth occurs for us. Yes, with all the pain and fear and feelings of being out of control that can, but not necessarily accompany transitions. They are still the most alive, most growth-filled, passionate, expansive moments in our lives. Transforming our need to grab that new bar, it can be terrifying. It can also be enlightening in the true sense of the word. Hurtling through the void, we may just learn how to fly. Oh, I love that ending from Perry. And I want to use it to end with a charge for all of us. Yes, we have been in a time of change and uncertainty for years now. So many bars on which we relied just disappeared, and many of us know the deep pain of being forced into a transition that we never wanted. Naturally, within all of us, we want to get to that next bar, to be settled, to have the pandemic over, to have this transition time done, to be through the grief. However, as much as we all want to find that solidity, may we remember that as Perry offers, the bars are the illusion, and that transition is the only real time, and it's the most alive and growth-filled space. And in that liminality, in that in-between, we may just learn to fly. Because in this world that is indeed at a threshold moment, we need religious communities that are living actively in this in-between time, willing to remain unsettled because so much is unsettled. Communities leaning into and reimagining what prophetic, life-saving, and justice-making ministry and community can be. Communities practicing a generosity of spirit, a generosity of care and belonging, of mutual support, to support one another in love in these times, and knowing faithfully that our values, our spiritual imagination, our interdependence will carry all of us forward. May it be so. And I want to just end with a prayer. Spirit of life, we are mindful of all those who came before us. We are mindful and committed to all those who will come after us. Love, hold us fast to what is best and deepest in us. Hold us close to one another and to all that is our life. And may we keep true to all that calls us forward in love and in liberation. Blessed be. And amen.
Wow, I thought that was pretty amazing. So, I was thinking as she was talking about that momentum and the imagination, I was reading Heather Cox Richardson this morning on my iPhone, and she said there are a couple of things have gone missed this week because of all of the other news, and that the men, the fathers in the House of Representatives have started a fathers group. In 2019, when all of the women were elected to the House, they started a mothers group. And so now the fathers have, because they were there taking care of their children while they had vote after vote after vote for the speaker. And they were there, how many nights were they there? I mean, it was crazy. And so what they have experienced, and their imagination let them realize that this is an opportunity now for them to pass more legislation, to help parents with children. Childcare has become so expensive that many parents can't afford it, and they have to stay home from work. So this is one silver lining in that kind of a nightmare experience. So the other thing I want to say, in the parable that Susan refers to, the faith experience, there are no guarantees, there's no net, there's no insurance policy, but we do it anyway. Because hanging on to that old bar is no longer an alternative. And certainly you can't hold on to both, because that would be painful. So asking yourselves, what form does faith take in your life, in your context? And what is it that helps you release the bar that you're holding on to that's keeping you from going forward? And Susan reminds us that the momentum is the momentum that sustains us. When she said that, it kind of, it moved me. I saw this sermon before and it didn't touch me, but I'm on my way to possibly a whole new chapter in my life, moving from parish ministry, interim ministry, to clinical social work, and working with families who have experienced violence, who's lost a loved one to murder. That's my goal. That's been sort of my passion for many years. But I'm scared. I'm afraid of the free fall. What will happen when I give this up? So it's beloved community that holds us, right? And our love for a world. We cannot tolerate injustice, exploitation, discrimination, and poverty because of what they do to human thriving. And so think about ways in which beloved community is working in this congregation, and ways that we can strengthen that as well. And then another theme in Susan's talk is how challenging it is to remain unsettled, and I know you're looking forward to a settled minister. Oh, but you think maybe that everything will be just fine and everything will go back the way it used to be, and then your settled minister will fix everything, right? No. So your settled minister is going to bring a new visions and new insights, and settled minister needs you to be a part of that co-creating, creating beloved community. So what are some of the spiritual practices or tools that you bring to in your own life to sort of live in the liminal space, the tension of not knowing? And especially when we're exhausted, we're all experiencing compassion fatigue. If you're looking for a spiritual practice, I invite you to join me Wednesday evening for the Vesper service. I'm going to focus the entire Vesper service on healing of pain and honoring that pain that we've been holding. I know I've been in such pain all week long watching TV and having to turn it off. But that's not what we need right now, to just turn it off. We need to get together and feel it and work through it so that we can be healthy enough to then go out into the world and make a difference. Join us. We'll have poetry, music, silence, and candles, and a simple meal of soup and bread at 6. You're invited to sign up and bring some soup if you like to share, or some bread. And there's an old saying that change is inevitable and growth is optional. Among all the changes unfolding in your life, which growth opportunities are you the most excited about? And so as we move into this liminal space and we continue to build beloved community and look forward to your new settled minister, there's a lot of exciting things happening with the search committee right now. I just want to share a Unitarian Universalist Lord's Prayer with you. Annette Marquis wrote this a long time ago, and she calls it Deliver Us to Evil. Spirit of life which exists wherever there is love, blessed be your names. Strengthen our will to create heaven on earth, and help us embody a peace-filled world. Give us our daily bread. Teach us to forgive ourselves for our failings and to forgive those who have failed us. Deliver us to evil, and give us the courage to transform it with love, for love is the power and the glory forever and ever. Amen. So now, I've got to chill, a little clamped. Let us pull down the fence. Let's pull down the fence and join me in singing We Would Be One. Please rise in body or spirit. This is my music director from Traverse City.
We would be one, as now we join in singing.
Thank you. It's a beautiful, beautiful voice. So now it's time for the work of the congregation, and I would like first to invite any visitors who are here this morning with us, if you'd like to stand and introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, where you're from.
Hi, I'm Michelle Franco, and we live here in Nashville.
Great, welcome.
I'm Jim. I'm with her.
Welcome.
My name's Emma, and I'm also from Asheville, but originally from Minnesota.
Welcome, glad you're here. Well, thank you for having the courage to get up and introduce yourself. We'll see you at coffee hour. There's also a super lunch going on too, and if you want to talk more about the service or the thoughts, I'm going to sit at a table with a bowl of soup, and you can join me. The slides run at the beginning of the service. If you miss them, you can look at the Thursday e-news, and if you don't get the e-news, you can ask an usher to help you sign up. As CUPS is meeting tonight for their gathering, but they're not having a potluck, as you saw on the slides. And our community plate recipient this month is the UU Asheville Scholarship. It's a wonderful scholarship started by this congregation to help children go to college, teens. So if you donate by check, be sure that you write Mel Hetland Scholarship on the community plate on the memo line. And now today's offering will be collected and gratefully received. If this is your first time here, please just let the plate pass. This service is our gift to you, and your presence is a gift to us. Thank you.
Doesn't have to be a holiday, and the ones I love are far away. Can I still raise my head and on and say grace? And does it have to be a special meal? Is it required that I bow and kneel? Is it as simple as the love I feel in this place? What can I give? What can I give? What can I give? Is each day for? What could be more than just to live thanks? Is there something that you're waiting for? Is something like this flying past your door? Is every day a battle or a war? Where is peace? Look no further for your second chance. Don't wait for someone else to hold your dance. Every moment find a sweet romance. It's so sweet. What can I give? What can I give? What can I give? Is each day for? What could be more than just to live things, not just on one day? Or when things are going my way, I wanna give thanks. I choose to live thanks. And make of every day a holiday.
I love Leah Morris. All right, closing words. Next Sunday, we have the choir, the full choir and less, yay. That'll be fun. And also, I'm going to share with you some things that every minister wishes that their congregation knew. I don't think you're going to want to miss that, okay? We may have to put in some chairs, extra chairs. The closing words are also by Eric Walker Wickstrom. If you are who you were, and the person next to you is who she or he was, or they were, if none of us has changed since the day we came in here, we have failed. The purpose of this community, any church, temple, zendo, mosque, is to help its people grow. We do this through encounters with the unknown in ourselves and in one another, in the other, whoever that might be, however hard this might be, because these encounters have many gifts to offer. So may you go forth from here this morning not who you were, but who you could be, and so may we all. Now please rise in body or spirit and join me in singing our closing song, Longtime Son. Go in peace and blessed be. Stay for Chris Rosser. He's our postlude this morning. And join us for lunch.
Hello. This is an optimistic song of mine called There's a Light. It's easy to feel lost, riding down this human path, trying to dodge the stop signs or people hurrying past. I guess we're calling progress if we're roughly headed the same way. All these different directions will end up in the same place. 'Cause there's a light, there's a light at the end of this road. There's a light like a guide, it's shining. It's with us wherever we go. There'll be detours and breakdowns, accidents and pain. When that spark of hope grows dark in the fog and rain, hey, I've been bumper to bumper. Mostly I'm alone. The test of trust and faith out on back streets of my home. But there's a light, there's a light at the end of this road. There's with us wherever we go. Ba-da-da-da-da-da, ba-ba-dee-dee-doo. Ba-da-da-da-da-da, ba-ba-dee-dee-doo. Ba-da-da-da-da-da, ba-ba-dee-dee-doo. Ba-ba-da-dee-doo. Oh, remember, we made triumphs out of families. We turned cities into states. Now we're planning on separate nations. Oh, evolution won't stop today. Hey, maybe we crawled up from the mud. Maybe we swung from the trees. But that science was guided by love. At least it seems that way to me. 'Cause there's a light, there's a light, a light at the end of this road. There's a light, a light like a guide that's shining. It's with us wherever we go. There's a light, there's a light, there's a light, there's a